Hey, what's up, guys? It's Nonstop Steph, and today I want to do a quick video on the five quarterbacks who I believe are on their last chance with their organizations. I think that if things don't work out this year for these quarterbacks, I don't know if they're going to be on that team much longer. So, with all that being said, of course, like and subscribe. I do appreciate you for listening to the video, and let's get right to it. The first quarterback that I want to talk about is near and dear to my heart, and anybody who knows me in my personal life will know that one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time has been Russell Wilson. And quite frankly, after this past season, I want to say that it is pretty obvious that he obviously regressed, and I don't enjoy talking about it like that, but it's just the truth. With him taking a step back and with the iron fist that people make it sound as if Sean Payton is going to walk in to that organization with, I wouldn't be surprised if he has another stinker for this season. That hey, they might have to really consider what's next because they are investing a lot of money on this team, and there's a lot of money put into this. So I don't know if they actually would just outright trade him because I think at that point it's very very hard to trade an asset like him when he's playing that poorly, especially given that contract. So I don't know if he just resorts to just being a backup quarterback at that point, or who they would find to be the new starter. But hey, listen, we've seen crazier stories, whether it be what we're seeing with the 49ers and Brock Purdy, and heck, we got to see how much picks they gave up to go get Trey Lance, and they still do have other quarterbacks out in free agency who are looking for positions. Carson Wentz. I mean, there's just a buttload of quarterbacks you can name who would love to step into this role and love to work under Sean Payton. So I don't think Russell Wilson actually has much of a choice but to perform well this season before he finds himself right in the pine. And I don't know if that's how he wants to finish off his career. The second quarterback I feel like is most necessary to talk about in this conversation is going to be, unfortunately, Dak Prescott. So I did make my top 10 quarterback video, and I included him in this because I don't think that he's going to repeat what he did last year. But if he does, if he does actually repeat what he did this last year and leads the leagues in interceptions, considering the fact that he didn't play the full year anyways, I think that's actually a really, really bad statistic to have on your resume, that you led the league in interceptions without playing the full year. That's just not good. If he was to do that again, I wouldn't be surprised if you start to see the Cowboys start looking elsewhere. I don't know again whether, and first and foremost, unlike Russell Wilson, I do consider him to be a very tradable asset. I do see him some as a another team would invest in him even with the interception problem that it looked like he had last year, because that's something that by the looks of it and the talent that he's shown, especially with what he did in the earlier years of his career, that could be fixed. We just got to go back to what was working beforehand. I don't know what happened last year that would make that regression. And if it was to repeat this year, I'm sure there's another coach who thinks that they can fix that, especially at his age, unlike Russell Wilson, who is pretty much, on the back end of his career. So Dak at least has the luxury of knowing that he would be at least a hot commodity and people would actually want to invest in him, unlike Russell Wilson. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if, with how great that defense is and with the good offense that they actually have around Dak, that if this is not a good year for him, they might have to look to do something else. So as much as I don't want to cheer for the Cowboys, because I never will, I will at least say I don't want to see Dak do poorly. I do want to see Dak do well. I just don't really care whether the Cowboys do well or not. The next quarterback I want to talk about, who this is again their last chance, is the quarterback for the LA Rams, Matt Stafford. So again, similar to the Russell Wilson, he's actually on the back end of his career, and I don't think that anybody's expecting him to, have a resurgence, especially with the injury that he did suffer. It was one that could have ended his career. So I do want to say this is the Rams' last chance at a championship run, given their current team, before they actually look to start making some big changes and blow it up. They did all that they did for that one championship, and hell, it was worth it. So I don't think they have any regrets. But at this point, if things don't work this year, don't be surprised if they start making some changes. So this is Matt Stafford's last year to be able to show us that he still got it. If he don't got it, it's time for them to move on, unfortunately. And it's been a great career, so I don't think anybody would ever look at him and say, well, this didn't work out. It worked out great for him, honestly. So, but hopefully he is able to do very well this upcoming season. I just don't actually think that he will. The next quarterback that I want to talk about in terms of being their last chance is actually going to be Mac Jones from the Patriots. Unfortunately, I don't think that Bill Belichick and the Patriots set him up for success this past season, especially all this stuff with Zappy after he was plugged in. I don't think that gave any level of confidence for Mac Jones. Now, I think that he does come into this season with a chip on his shoulder and knowing that he should be the starter and should be able to, up his game. But if we are being honest, I wouldn't be surprised that if he does play poorly this upcoming season, they are going to look to make moves. And again, we got to see what Zappy was able to do and how the offense just honestly looked so much better when he was the quarterback. So hopefully, Mac Jones is actually able to get into this year and perform decent. Keep in mind, he is a Pro Bowl quarterback. It's not like he came in and he was just absolute booty. Now, I will admit, the year that he made the Pro Bowl, I mean, it was he was alright. But the point is, he was at least good enough to make the Pro Bowl. I mean, this is not like some scrub, right? So I do hope that he is able to have a resurgence this upcoming year. But I don't know what that would look like there on the Patriots. And the final quarterback that I want to talk about, this being their last chance, is actually going to be coming from the Tennessee Titans, and that's Ryan Tannehill. So if you look at what they've done already, they have already put quarterbacks behind him who are going to be the future. Whether you're looking at Will Levis, who obviously is the most recent draft pick, or of course Malik Willis. I think most of us are expecting that the future of this organization will be given to Will Lewis. But considering how well the Titans have been over the last couple years and how they've made actual pushes into the playoffs, especially behind what Derrick Henry was able to do, if Ryan Tannehill was able to have a good season this year, there's no reason to think that they're not going to say, hey, let's ride this wave and let Will Levis actually be, watch and learn how things go before we hand him the organization. You don't pull out a quarterback who's doing good. You don't pull him out when things are going well. So as long as things are going well for him, he's going to keep on balling. Now, if he does not, if things aren't going well this year, at a certain point, don't be surprised if they pull him out. And at that point, I do want to say that I think his career as a starter in the NFL is unfortunately going to be over. I don't think that there's going to be another team who's going to want to bring him in. And not only will they bring him in, make him a starter, I just don't see who that team would be. You would find someone who would probably value him as a backup, similar to like the Teddy Bridgewaters of the world and whatnot. But I don't see him actually starting for any team here in this league after this year if he was to actually play poorly enough to get, benched behind either Will Levis or, of course, Malik Lewis. So with that being said, of course, those are the 5 quarterbacks who I think who are on a very, very hot seat. So I really, really hope that any of those 5 do perform well. And like I mentioned earlier, obviously I'm a big fan of Russell Wilson, so preferably him. If he can play very, very good, I'd love to see the Broncos compete. And I'd love to see him be successful again. But that same sentiment goes out to all of the 5 quarterbacks I mentioned here. If you guys do disagree with any of those 5, please, of course, leave it in the comments. And if there's another quarterback that you think is on the hot seat, let me know. Leave it in the comments as well. With that being said, of course, I appreciate you guys for listening, and have a great day. Peace.